Finance here at RUSU.
Hi, I'm Harry Everett. I am the Activities and Opportunities Officer.
Hello there, I'm Oscar Minto. I'm the Education Officer.
And hello, my name is Ryan Bird, and I'm the Chief Executive here at RUSU.
Thank you. And just to note, today's going to be live streamed, and there's going to be some photos taken. So if you would not like to be in the live stream, you can sit at this table there, and your face will not be seen in the live stream from that camera or that camera. And yeah, we're just going to get started. So the first thing we're going to say is on each table there's an agenda and an impact report, and in the corner of the impact report will be the QR code for the digital version as well as the minutes from the last AGM meeting. So while we appreciate that most of you probably weren't here during that meeting and the minutes, these are a fair reflection of the meeting, and it is a formality. So I just need to ask you to ratify the minutes. So could I ask that everyone raise your hand if you're happy for us to ratify the minutes of those meetings? Great, lovely. Thank you. All right. So hopefully you can see the agenda, and that's just the highlight for today and just what we'll be going through. And the first thing we're going to do is go through the highlights of 2021-22, which would be in the impact report. And I'm going to hand over to Oscar to talk us through.
Yes, hello there. So, as you can see, wonderful impact report. If you want to turn to any select page, it basically tells you everything about RUSU. So we have some interesting stats as to, for example, our student membership on pages 6 and 7. You'll find that exactly 53.7% of our students are female, and we have 44.1% postgraduate students. Reading is a large supplier of postgraduate study. You've got various parts of our advice service on page 8 and 9. Bits linking to our sustainability strategy on page 10. Elements of our leadership elections on page 12, and elements of sort of votes cast and candidates there. You've also got various big wins on pages 14 and 15. Bits about our academic rep structures on pages 16. Student activities money and raised by RAG on page 17. And it's about employment and other learners on page 18 and 19, such as we have 122 children registered at the nursery. Then you also have bits about our venue on pages 20. You'll find that we've sold almost 40,000, or well, 38,000 coffees almost. So yes, this is basically just a reflection of various stats of the uni and various wins. Feel free to browse at your leisure throughout the meeting. Yeah, perfect.
Okay. And you'll also see how much we've sold on the venue part, which is very fun to have a look at. But yeah, to do note also that this is for the year 2021-22, so this was last year's impact report instead of this year's. But yeah, it's all really positive. Recently, Sheldon and Poppy, the President and Welfare Officer, presented it at Council as well, which is the university trustee board essentially, and they were all very happy with it, so that's a really good positive start. And now we're going to move on to accounts, affiliation, costs, and auditors. And we're going to hand over to Jane.
I'm going to stand up because I can't do it sitting down. So I'm head of finance, and finance is fun as far as I'm concerned. So I'm going to actually present the really interesting, exciting bit of this evening, which is presenting the final accounts for the last year. So moving on. So you can, using your QR code, you can actually direct yourself to the RUSU website, and you'll be able to see a full copy of the final accounts. This is the front page, and I've also put up there the statement of financial activities, or the SOFA as we call it. Is actually a sort of a profit and loss, but that gives you an idea of the money that was happening last year. RUSU is a company limited by guarantee and is a charity registered with the Charity Commission. And as a charity, the accounts, the notes, and the trustees' annual report have been prepared in line with the charity's SORP to ensure that they are fair, true, and accurate. And they're the charity SORP on the right-hand side, in case any of you are accountants and are really interested in having a look. If we move on to the next slide. Included in the financial statements is also the independent auditor's report. And our accounts were prepared for this financial year up until the 31st July 2022 by our auditors, Knox Cropper, who reviewed the accounts alongside the CEO, senior staff, and the finance department. The auditors review our internal processes and ensure that they are an accurate reflection of RUSU's financial position and are provided to the trustees, the Charity Commission, Companies House, and you as our members. And I can confirm that Knox Cropper had nothing to report in the management letter, and they also reviewed and confirmed our going concern status. The independent auditor's report, this is only page 1, there are now 3 pages of this, it's got longer and longer, and it's included in the full set of accounts as well. So if we move on to the next slide. So, numbers, and this is in the impact report. The total income for RUSU was significantly up from 3,356,000 in 2021 to 5 million, or just over 5 million. This was an increase of 1.7 million. Now we have to remember that 2021 was a COVID year, so it's a bit like comparing apples and pears. And also we have to remember actually that we were still coming out of COVID in September 21. The commercial areas were up by 198,000, and this pie chart sort of gives you an idea of the sources of income and where it all comes from in order for us to be able to provide everything we do here in RUSU. If we move on to the next slide, which is the expenditure, and in line with the income, the total expenditure was also up by just over 1 million, from 3 million in 2021 to just over 4 million in 21-22. This was a 37% increase compared to a 51% increase in income. Again, we have to remember that in September 2021, we were coming out of COVID. There was reduced activity on campus. We'd had a recruitment freeze during COVID in RUSU, and we were trying to fill up some staff vacancies, which did take a little while to fill, so staffing is a big cost to us, and so that's why we came out in that way. The pie chart really shows you how we actually spent the money, and in all the different areas, and you can see we've got the student activities, clubs and societies is a really big, nice section of that pie. I could mention affiliations here, couldn't I? Because we do need approval to continue to be a member of the British Universities and Colleges Sports Bucks, as it's known. So I think we need sort of formal agreement that we can continue to be a member of this affiliation. So I'm sort of asking can everybody put their hand up and sort of agree that we can? Particularly for those sporting people, because I suspect they'll probably recognise the importance of this. Thank you very much. Now, all of this is just numbers, but actually these numbers tell a story, and I think Oscar sort of gave us a taste of the story that's actually in the impact report. Because RUSU is devoted to the educational interests and welfare of its student members, and it works alongside the University of Reading to achieve its aims. And the best charity annual reports explain the difference that the charity has actually made. And that's the impact that we've made for the students during the year. So all of that money that's come in and the way it has been spent has meant that over 1,000 students were supported by our advice services. It has meant that as a result of our EDI work, our full-time officer elections, the diversity increased significantly. It means that last year, over 3,000 students were involved in societies. 2,368 of those were involved in sports, so there's where the bucks is really coming into its own, because that's where those are the students that are going to really benefit from that. And 182 were involved in volunteering. So I think you have to really remember when you go to read, if you go to read these accounts, that the trustees' annual report gives a real clear indication of the impact that that money has had on the students here at Reading University. If we move on to the next one, which is the balance sheet. So at the end of the year, RUSU did have a surplus of 371,908. Very unexpected, but I think it was, you know, for all the reasons I've explained coming out of COVID. So this was after the movement in pension deficit. So if you add up those pie charts, there is, if you look at the sofa, you'll see there's a little movement in that. Now, the balance sheet is always a snapshot on a particular day, and this is a snapshot of where we were on the 31st of July, 2022. Our net current assets sit at just, 2.9 million. RUSU is managing a significant pension deficit as part of its membership to a now closed SUS pension scheme. So when you include this and any outstanding loans to the university, our overall assets are 1.6 million. We are in a very strong financial position, and we have put in place plans to utilise the reserves that we have for the benefit of students. So I thought I'd just do a little explanation, move over my page, about our reserves. If we start from the bottom, actually, the restricted reserves that you'll see in our accounts is actually mostly the student activity, the clubs and societies, because they have to be restricted because they're only used for that particular purpose. The general reserves, or the unrestricted reserves, are those were free reserves that we can actually available for us to use. The designated reserves are where we can actually, the trustees can decide to put aside money for a particular purpose. And actually, it was agreed by the trustee board in June 2022 to transfer 647,000 from the unrestricted reserves to designated for the change priorities projects as part of the strategic plan. We are making sure that we are using our funds that we have available very carefully, but to drive forward that strategic plan. And actually, just to let you know, even in the current financial year, no, it's not supposed to talk about it because we're talking about this previous year, but actually we've actually designated more money, 15,000 to the university, in collaboration with the university for the BIT campaign, the Green Rewards, that I hope that some of you have signed up to. And with the cost of living crisis, we've also set aside 42,000 to be designated to fund initiatives, including the cost of living breakfasts. I don't know whether any of you have used those. And there's hoodies and totem cards and other initiatives as well. So we are looking to use those reserves for the benefit of students, but it's important that we do it in a very careful but robust way. And then finally, at the beginning of September, having completed an audit tender, which we had been promising for the last 5 years but been delayed by COVID, we actually appointed new auditors, Critchley's. And this has been recorded in the final accounts and was confirmed at the board meeting in December. So I think, do we have to have approval for that as well? Yes, so I think we need approval that we can appoint Critchley's as our new, we did a very good tender. We had 3 come to the actual tender, and we gave them a good grilling, so, and I'm very comfortable with these. So can we have agreement that we can appoint Critchley's? It's a local firm, only in Oxford, so thank you very much. Okay, and that is it from me for the accounts. Any questions? I think you can write them up as well, is that Annie? Right? Yeah, or you can put your hand up if you want to ask. Oh, microphone's coming over.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Raim, and the PGR student officer. My question is straightforward. I had a discussion with Jem some days ago during the LAC meeting, and I raised a concern about accessibility of students to learners, the nursery. And I'm pleased that at least 32% of the people using the facility are students. I'm very pleased with that. However, during this economic harsh condition that we are going through, a lot of families, most especially students, are also facing challenges. So, if we are setting aside some fund from the reserve towards some initiatives, I think it is high time that we also look inward towards the little learner in the form of subsidy or discounts for students who have their kids in that school, or those who intend to bring their kids, but because of the cost, they could not enroll their kids in that place. I'm a living example because I reach out to them. I have a 14-month-old baby, and I reach out to them that, okay, I want to enroll my daughter, and they said, oh, okay, the minimum that I want to do, the max is 3 days, and it's going to cost me like 1,100 or 1,000 a month. If I had my 20 hours work that I'm doing with my wife, we cannot afford that. Then I asked myself, I'm a RUSU officer, fine, I've signed, I want to volunteer, and my role, I'm not getting paid. So, why can't we have access to a discount as a student in Little Learner? Now that we have opportunity that I want to set aside some fund to cater for some ideas, I think we can also look in that direction, make it like a discount. Rather than paying £75 a day, maybe it can be £50 a day. Then the 25 can then be catered for all this time. So that's the comment I have.
Do you want to answer that one, Ryan, or shall I? I'm guessing that we can take that forward and look at it and obviously and see the financial viability of that. We have set aside, as I said, that sum of money for the cost of living crisis. So it's something that we can look at, I'm sure. I can't give you an answer straight away here, obviously, but okay. Because it is very, it's very difficult with the nursery trying to control the costs over there, making sure that we're right. Any other questions? Yes. Oh. You can borrow mine.
I think it's great that you obviously set aside that money and stuff. You talk about the cost of living crisis, and I think it's great that you guys are doing the breakfast. I think that's great. I haven't had to access it yet, but and I'm sure obviously students from all backgrounds here are struggling. I was wondering, are there any plans in place to further support, as well as that breakfast? Like, are there any plans in place to create programs like that for students from lower income households? Are there further plans to allocate that money to that?
In the sense of what, giving them?
In the sense that you create the breakfast thing for struggling students. Obviously, I don't know the percentage of students that would be considered disadvantaged or from a low-income household. So I come from a low-income household myself, and so far I've been generally well. But I wonder if there are students out there that could use further support. So I was wondering, you said there are plans to use this money, or you have got plans so far?
Yes, there are plans to use this money.
Maybe it doesn't exist already, but maybe is that something you could take into consideration to further support lower income students?
Yeah, I think that's what we're trying to reach those people in the right way, and we've tried we're trying sort of different initiatives to try and make sure we do target that money in where the need is. Yeah. So, I mean, if you have any ideas that you want, later on, if you want to come and share, we can look into it and see whether it's viable and whether it would be something that would, make the difference.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, the Reading Bursary is very good already.
Sorry, just to chime in. Just to chime in there for a second, we have actually a few more funds working on, because we dedicated, is this me? We dedicated quite a lot of money from our reserves to fund programs such as the Warm Welcome, but as far as activities go, we now have a £10,000 fund for students struggling financially or from lower income backgrounds to apply for to pay for their membership fees to clubs and societies, or to fund their equipment so they can join the sports rather than being stopped or prevented, to make it more inclusive to everyone in this. And similarly, we've got another £10,000 fund for the clubs themselves to put on their events for cheaper or for free, or provide free food to students that are struggling. Additionally, the University Hardship Fund has now been doubled, so there's more money available for students that are struggling to just access that money for all different purposes and regards. So we're working on all different kinds and all different aspects there to try and support the students.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? I mean, if you want to come up afterwards when we're eating and ask me any finance questions, I'm very happy to talk about finance. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane, and thank you for the questions. Yeah. So what we've got next is a bit more exciting. It's just to help soften and give a bit of a transition, I guess, from all the numbers. We've got a highlights from this year quiz. So so this quiz is all on Mentimeter. So if you haven't already, if you've got a device, just get up www.menti.com and then put in the code. I think you should be able to see it. Yeah. 12846290. Or scan it. Yeah. But I'll hand over to Harry to start the quiz.
Thank you very much, Jim. Well, I'll give you a couple minutes to get on there. But hello, I'm Harry, and I guess I'll be your quiz master this evening. We're going to cover all different things RUSU, how well you know your officers, how well you know the building, and how well you know RUSU. The winner will get a small prize for this. We'll tell you what it is at the end, and should be nice. Always good to get something for free. We're great at that here at RUSU. So with quiz, the quicker you answer the question, the more points you'll get. And there should be a total of 12 questions, I believe, in there. Let me know if anyone needs any more time. Oh, perfect. Okay, let's go. Question 1. Which FGO has the most plush toys on their desk? These are the soft, cuddly toys. We've got a whole collection of the officer, but which officer has the most? Answer quickly. Everyone thought it was Poppy, but it's actually me. I have a grand total of 3 on my desk, just beating Oscar and Poppy, who each have 1. Although they do have a massive collection of plants that I could not match or compare to. Number 2 on our venue, you might have seen it. How many VKs did RUSU sell last year? Very well, everyone. I wonder where you got that from. Very glad it's not 4. We'd be really struggling if it was. Do you think we can beat it this year? All right, on to number 3. Which is not a RUSU event. RUSU seems quite famous for our taglines and names, this being the big student update. Actually, Balls Deep was one of our events that we hosted this year for freshers. The Big Cheese is the one that wasn't one of ours. The rest, every other one there is a genuine RUSU event. Now, on to number 4. How much money did your FTOs secure to support students during the cost of living crisis? We've got the warm welcome up there. Oh, yeah. £42,854 from RUSU's reserves alone, and then we appealed to the university, who have topped up these funds even further, so we get even more money for you students in this time of need. You can see this, you'll be able to see this money in various funds, initiatives such as the Warm Welcome, and our various giveaways. Now on to number 5. How many students voted in our recent NUS referendum? That's the National Union of Students. Oh, just start that. Question number 5. There we are. By the way, those cupcakes were absolutely delicious, and you can get similar ones for the leadership lections. Now, over 1,000 students voted in the NUS referendum, the majority voting yes to leave the NUS. So we have started withdrawing from the NUS now. We will no longer be part of the National Union of Students. Now, number 6, and a little bit more controversial. Why did RUSU choose not to show this year's World Cup? If you selected to support migrant workers' rights, women's rights, or the LGBT community, you are correct. We, in fact, do not hate football. Although I'm not very good at it, we love football here. We have various football clubs. We really appreciate all the feedback you, the students, gave us regarding this decision this year, both for and against it. Thank you very much for that. Now, back to freshers. Question number 7. How many tote bags did RUSU give out during this Freshers Week? Back in September, how many goodie bags did we give away? Absolutely correct. We gave away 2,700 tote bags filled with goodies, free to all the students. I do hope you got one. I personally took home 2. Now, question 8. What role or title do the RUSU officers hold? A tricky one there. The RUSU officers hold wear many hats and hold many titles. Actually, as a team, we hold every single one of these. I personally am a director of RUSU, a director of RUSU Trading, a RUSU trustee, and the activities officer. So we wear many hats and many things I put on my CV. Now, a little question about Ryan here, our chief exec. What did he hold when he was an officer at RUSU? Lovely photo. Which officer do you think he was? Most voted for president. Actually, Ryan was our education officer, like Oscar here. Perhaps, in fact, Oscar will come back to run RUSU in a few years. All right, now one on Poppy, our welfare officer. She's been dedicating her time to write a big old report. What's it called? Ooh, pretty even guesses there. It was very hard there. She's currently writing the University Mental Health Charter, gathering evidence of university mental health support and monitoring it so that the systems can be developed and improved for you, the students, so it can better support you in your times of need. Now, on to our last and final question, 11 of 11, not 12, my bad. How many other universities have us, the officers, visited this academic year? I'm impressed. Absolutely, 11 universities will visit this academic year, from Hull and Lincoln to Brighton and Cardiff. Travelling to other SUs and universities is one of the perks of being an officer. All right, we've got a leaderboard coming up next, so we can see who got the most answers correct. Eloise, you are our winner. If you'd like to come up, I can give you a little goodie bag. Round of applause, everybody, yes. Oh, here you are. That makes that 2,701 tote bags. Thank you very much. And I love the runner-up there, boat face. Thank you very much for playing. All right, I'll hand back over to Jem.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the quiz. Very lively presented by Harry. But again, if you have any questions about anything in the quiz or anything you would like to talk about, feel free to grab one of us during the break or when we're in the office. We're now based in reception. So now we're going to go on to current priorities and I guess what we're doing this year. This is going to be just brief really, but again, if you want to grab us, if you want to know more about anything, you're free to. I think Oscar left some stuff on tables around the RUS, which is yeah, and cultural show. So that's just a few examples. But I'll start off quickly. I guess I'll just describe what's coming up in the next few weeks, as well as some things, some wins already. One of the wins already that we've done is me and Poppy, we've opened up the Wellbeing Hub, which used to be the relaxation room, and we've turned it into a safe space on campus, and we've developed it slowly to be a bit more inclusive and more quiet space and a bit more friendly for different types of students. And that is almost done, and which is really exciting. And we've got some student interest in developing it even more, which is amazing. But that's one win that we've both worked on that we're quite happy with. And more things I've got coming up is I've got a community student and like fruit and veg market visit. I've got LGBTQ wellbeing colouring session for Pride and LGBTQ History Month. I've got a bio-inclusion training, and I'm working on a 3-year EDI plan. That's just a few things that I'm doing, but a bit of insight into what I do, and I'll pass on to Oscar.
Okay, what have I done? I guess at the front end of last week, I handed in the student submission to the Teaching Excellence Framework. This is the first ever in Reading's sort of history. It's basically a 10-page submission with regard to the outcomes and experiences of students here at Reading over the past 4 years. So that has been the bulk of my work. I think lots of course reps and students fed into that. and we did sort of lots of surveys and things, so thank you to them. We have prizes with those surveys, and they'll be drawn this week, so people should be informed very soon. Outside of that, yes, you can read it in September when it will be published as well, which is nice. Last year, we had things like the course rep assembly. We've got another one of those coming up in March this term. And we have, of course, leadership elections that I'm currently chairing. If you see on your table, you have Reading University Student Sustainability Summit as well. This comes up on the 1st of March. It's an opportunity for you to basically do a TEDx type talk on anything that you can link with the UN Sustainable Development Goals. It could be literally anything. It might be energy. It might be something to do with gender equality or poverty, etc. So if you're interested in that, there's a sign up link there. Equally, if you're interested in attending, come along. There will be food like this event. That's about it. Oh yes, and we've secured some funding for just today, which is good. We have an assessment feedback guide coming around to students, which is good. I've secured funding for printing, but now I need to find people to distribute it. So yeah, perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. I'm working on the cultural show with Jem here and Russ with Oscar, big team collaboration. But myself, we have the upcoming Activities Awards. So this year we'll have our Society Awards and Sports Awards in one big ceremony with hopefully bucking broncos, bowling and all. Some fun entertainment equipment there. The funds I mentioned earlier, we've worked hard to get those, and they are now released. I'll be working on some promotion and publications about them this week to inform you of all the details and how to apply. We have an ever-growing group called the Captains Club for our various committee to improve communication between our sports clubs, societies, and all of our groups to hopefully improve their collaboration, bringing us more joint socials and big fun events. Thank you.
Thanks. Right, now we're gonna just take a little bit of a comfort break here. So I'm gonna say around 7:05, I'll just check in and let everyone know what's going on. But yeah, there'll be food at the back, but do remember that the prize draw is at the end of the whole meeting, so you have to stay around and stick around to just see if you won a prize. We've got some very exciting prizes to hand out today, like an air fryer and Asda voucher for £50. So do stick along to that, and I think you can queue up for food. I think there'll be someone there. So yeah, you've got till 7:05, roughly. But
if you haven't registered already or signed in, you still can, and you need to have registered or have your ticket scanned and such to be entered into the draw. Don't want anyone to miss out. So let us know if you haven't yet.
thank you.
Oh, I couldn't help myself. I'm almost at your house again. Oh.
But yeah, this is all really positive, I'd say, for the most part. And we want to capture that feedback into how we change our core brand story and embrace the students. I think that's all the words. So yeah, I assume everyone's happy with that. Right, so now this is the little fun exercise. So the two questions we're going to encourage everyone to think about is, how would you see the future of RUSU? What are your hopes for what we could be? And thinking ahead for next year, what would you have loved to see us achieve? So that's part of our future. And we want your input into our future too. I think we've got some paper to put up around now. So you'll see some 2 sheets, and we'll have those 2 questions. Everyone's going to have some sticky notes, and then you can just pop it on and put your thoughts down. So yeah, feel free to take part in that.
Let me know if I've missed you out giving out post-it notes, or if you run out, happy to give you some more.
Yeah, just you can, so that wall there, you can just stick on that wall and just write the answers to those 2 questions. If you forgot what the question is, it's always up here. It'll be on here for a bit. But you can answer either or both. It's up to you how you do it. Have you got enough pens? Yeah. 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 I'll give you like a few minutes to write some answers down, and then I'm going to read out like a few maybe, just to see what everyone else is thinking, maybe help brainstorm. But yeah. stuff for students, and I think there is actually an opportunity for students to actually get involved and give some feedback on what more we could do for on a Saturday, for example. So if that's something you also agree with, do watch this space and keep an eye on the RUSU socials for polls. Fully plant-based. Slightly controversial, but I do agree as a vegan myself. But on a climate perspective, I definitely see benefits in RUSU endorsing that, even if it's just a small community cafe, which we may be doing, so we'll see. All students to feel like they belong. Definitely, I feel like in my remit of community, belonging is very important for a lot of students, especially underrepresented backgrounds. So I think I'd hoped also to see a future where everyone feels like they belong. And I feel like it'd be really good if we could all be on that journey, I guess, to improve how inclusive we are. And again, if there's any ideas you all had as well to improve that, I'm always free, and my email's on the table as well if you wanted to ever email me about that. Oh, it's a sign. One's fell off. Oh, this is a long one. Promote activities more. I found that students don't know where to get information about student events and why they didn't participate in any of these. Yeah, I feel like a lot of students might be feel a bit like that, especially if you're not big on your phone. I feel like COVID has changed how people interact on social media. So I think comms is definitely something we're thinking about, especially in the rebrand. It's definitely something we are considering. So I think I can definitely see that. And I think Harry also.
If you are personally missing out on our events, do come into the building. We've always got posters up, and follow our events Instagram, which should keep you very well updated. And spread the word to your friends. Jem? Okay. Question was, think ahead, what would you like to hear we've achieved? More inclusivity. Absolutely. Similar to before, we want every student to feel like they belong. And reaching more students. We would love to engage more of the student population with RUSU. That's something we're constantly striving to do, and we hope to improve year on year.
Sure. Just gonna pick one. Renovations to the building. That's a fun one. If only. But no. I think there's a lot of this building can feel very cold. Specifically here, the AC belts out. It's very good in the summer, but not particularly now. And renovations to the inside of the building. I think there's lots of work that we can do specifically around improving the building and making it look pretty. In the meantime, we do have some potential funding reserved. You might have graduated by the time that funding's there, but we have some funding that RUSU actually put away last year that it's using to renovate the building, including the space towards the reception at the moment. So we've opened that up, made it more open plan, and we're planning to more of a student area. And as for more sort of integral funding to do with the building feeling grey and needing to be opened up a bit, that stuff's going to be supplied by the university later on in their estates plan or strategy. So yes, let's do one from this side. That's mine. So improvements in student welfare. Okay. Let us know how we can improve. So effectively, I think there's a variety of different ways that we could improve student welfare, but equally. We have a student council on the 6th, so please do come along. Let Poppy specifically know what she's doing well and what other areas we can expand to. I think some of the student groups that we have, we should really bolster, and we'd really like to hear more from that. So, yeah. Pop, Jem?
Yeah. I'll read the last one that fell off unless you've already had it. Let's see. Oh, sustainability, less plastic. And everyone feeling included and able to contribute. The sustainability note again. I think Sheldon, if you didn't already know, the president, his remit includes sustainability. he actually did the You're Our Student app, which gives you awards if you do really good things, and it awards you for like walking, so for taking the bus, for example. So that app is called You're Our Student Bit. It gives you awards for doing really good initiatives around sustainability. So do sign up to that if you haven't seen it already. And I think we have some leaflets in the Help Yourself shelf in reception if you don't know where to find all that stuff. And yeah, I think we also definitely want to be able to take students on that journey to feel like they can contribute and be included. I feel like definitely when it's like an organisation like RUSU or a charity, sometimes it's difficult to keep up because there's so much going on. So I definitely can get that feeling. But I think we definitely want to incorporate that in our brand. So yeah, I think unless anyone wants to read any more, we can move on. Cool. No? Okay. Carbon neutrality and more plants. I definitely agree with the more plants. We're going to get some in reception, actually, as part of the renovation, so that'd be really cool. I would love to know how carbon neutral we are, actually, which is not something I'm sure of, but we could definitely look into it. Yeah, so thank you. But really appreciate all of this. This is actually really good. I think we're definitely going to keep all of these and actually make note of it. So thank you for your input. So I think the next bit is around elections. You may not know, but it's nominations period until Friday. So Oscar here, the chair of Elections Committee, will talk to you a bit about that.
Hello there. Okay. Yes, let's see if I can try and get that up. There you go. Yes, so the wonders of leadership elections. You can have our jobs. So we have a sort of full-time officer elections, we have part-time officer elections, alongside senior rep elections and student trustee elections, all under one banner called leadership elections, and you have until Friday at 3 p.m. to nominate yourself for that. I mean, I think I speak on behalf of all of us here. We've had a very, very enjoyable term, and some full-time officers may well rerun. I can't, but you know, this is a really good opportunity to get involved with running RUSU, either in a paid role as a full-time officer or in a more voluntary capacity, either as a senior rep, so focusing on sort of academic engagement and focusing on teaching and learning and the things that are happening in your school, particularly through leading your course reps. As a student trustee, so ensuring that RUSU is legally compliant, having a bit of a deeper dive into the finances with Jane, and also making big decisions about the direction that RUSU is going. Or as a part-time officer and driving your own student groups, and particularly underrepresented groups here at RUSU. You'll drive very specific campaigns, and although they are voluntary roles, we're moving to hopefully pay them eventually, probably not next year, but yes. So if you're minded, please do go to the RUSU website. Go to www.rusu.co.uk/elections, and you can nominate yourself on there. Again, 3 p.m. is the deadline this Friday. Please do put yourself forward. Even if you have doubts as to whether you will, completely put forward a manifesto, etc., you can always withdraw later on. But putting yourself forward now is a really good opportunity, and don't miss out. Yeah, I don't know if anybody else wants to talk about their time. No, I found it particularly, it has been a very, very good role. I postponed masters for this, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. It's tiring, but the level of skills that you gain from it is incredible. You're never going to be at this amount of responsibility as a graduate. You will not be, for the most part, a director or sitting on a trustee board and making the decisions and leading students and representing them in any other role. So please do think about it. It is a really good opportunity. You'll become incredibly employable for it. And you never know, you might find that you have a future in higher education. So, thank you.
Thank you. So, if you had any more questions on that, you can always email elections committee as well if you are ever concerned or worried about anything. So, yeah, thank you for that. So, we're just going to round up, I guess, the whole thing since Jane's questions. If there was any further questions on the recent slides or anything we've mentioned. You can raise it on the Mentimeter if you don't want to speak, or you can just raise your hand. And Ryan's got a microphone if you do raise your hand. Okay. I'll assume no one has any questions right now, but we can get started on the prize draw, if not, which I feel like a lot of you are really excited for. Yeah, cool. Right, I'll go first. Wow. Okay, so there's a little spinner here. So my prize is going to be first. So mine is the Asda £50 voucher. So you can do something for no. So you can get some groceries or anything else you need. I guess I just really wanted to make sure I support students in the cost of living, mainly. But yeah, do I just? Okay, yeah, go. Ooh, well done, Penny.
Should we do the prize?
Yeah.
Congratulations. Another round of applause, please. All right. I will go next. I have a lovely salty. There we are. My lovely assistant showing you for there. Compact air fryer. Lovely. Makes great chips. Very crispy. I'm sure this is everyone's favorite part, and definitely not the only reason you came. But let's spin that wheel. Oh. Congratulations if you'd like to come up and receive an air fryer.
Okay, so my is a is a coffee grinder, cafetiere, and coffee beans. I'm a caffeine lover, and the coffee beans are from Marks and Spencer's, so you know they're good. Yeah, go for it. Congratulations, Sherry. What? This is a bit of a combination. Yes, go for it. There's a lot. So, I reckon, how do we do it? We have to take a picture of these, don't we? Do you want to hold that? We can just put them on the table and you can understand it. There we go.
Oscar will help you carry those over. Very nicely done. All right, I'll do the blanket. All right, next up, this is a prize selected by our welfare officer, Poppy. We have a positive student planner, very lovely book here, and I believe a weighted blanket. It actually looks really fluffy and cozy. I would love to win something like that. Spin that wheel. Ooh, Sophie, congratulations. Way. I hope you enjoy. Over to you, Oscar, for the last and final present. You did ask for more plants. Here's one.
So, didn't quite tell me. Well, it's a plant. His name is Howard. Does he come with an app? I'm pretty sure he comes with some form of app. I don't know. He has like a health monitor or something. And there's a mister as well, a glass bottle. Sheldon's a big fan of plants, so this is his basically. So go forth with the wheel. Congratulations, Abigail. I hope you can keep plants alive. Here we are. Dead in 2 weeks. Okay, yes. Well, apparently there's an app supposedly or something. It's on the front. I think it is. I don't know. But either way, it's a good pot for what it does. There we go.
Cool. Well, I hope some of you aren't too disappointed that you didn't win anything and that you still enjoyed it. But thank you so much for coming. And again, if you ever need anything else, if you have any questions, we're always based in RUSU, unless we're in a meeting, then yeah. But which is most of the time for some of us. But yeah, and you also have my email on the table, and I think the other offer emails are very similar to mine, except it will start with the job title. For example, President at RUSU, Education Officer at RUSU, and Activities Officer at RUSU. So if you ever have any questions or any concerns you want to give us, you can always raise it there, and also RUSU Inquiries email for reception. But thank you for coming. Sorry that the mic's cutting out. But yeah, I hope to see you again soon at our next upcoming events. And yeah, take care. Thank you.
Just like to quickly thank the staff that put this on this evening and the rest of the panel here. We get another round for them, a round of applause for them, please. Thank you.